call the Common Council meeting of March 17th, 2026 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Hess. Here. Lorick.
Here.
Alderman Ritz is excused. Alderwoman Marshall.
Here.
Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Everybody, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Andrea, you want to start us off? Item 3 is approval of minutes of March the 3rd, 2026. If everybody take a moment.
And the air shows.
When you're satisfied, there's no discussions, errors, omissions, or corrections. Motion, please.
Lork moves to approve the minutes of 3/3/26.
A second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess.
Item 4 is our first public hearing. It's one of 4 concerning the same subject. So what we're going to do is we're going to read all 4 into record. We'll have a presentation by our city planner, and then I will call each public hearing one at a time, specific to the content of that public hearing. I think so. Okay, Catherine, would you please read? That would be item 4 into record.
Public hearing number 1 is to consider an amendment to the City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Planned Land Use Category from single-family detached to single-family attached for the properties located at 2301 and 2321 West Putes Road. Applicant is CR Oak Creek Land 2 LLC. Property owner is CR Oak Creek Land 2 LLC and Jetty Family Trust. Date of notice was February 4th, 2026. Public hearing number 2 is to,
I think she can read them all. We'll try it. Let's see if it's better.
public hearing number 2 is to review a request to amend an existing planned unit development overlay district, PUD, with conditions and restrictions for Hayday Oak Creek, a single-family attached residential development on the property is located at 2119, 2263, 2301, and 2321 West Putes Road and 8830 South 27th Street. Applicant is Anthony Rodriguez, Hayday. Property owner is CR Oak Creek Land LLC, CR Oak Creek Land Land 2 LLC, Jetty Family Trust, and City of Oak Creek. Legal description there follows. Date of notice, February 18th, 2026. Public hearing number 3 is to review a request to rezone all or portions of the properties located at 2119, 2263, 2301, and 2321 West Putes Road and 8830 South 27th Street from RS2 Single Family Residential to RD1 Two Family Residential District. Applicant is Anthony Rodriguez, Hayday. Property owner is CR Oak Creek Land LLC, CR Oak Creek Land 2 LLC, Jetty Family Trust, and City of Oak Creek. Legal description there follows. Date of notice, February 18th, 2026. Public hearing number 4 is to review a request to amend the official map affecting the properties located at 2263, 2301, 2321, 2345, and 2411 West Putes Road, 8700, 8810, and 8830 South 27th Street, and 2320 West Grays Lane. Applicant is Anthony Rodriguez, Hayday. Property owner, CR Oak Creek Land 2 LLC, Jetty Family Trust, Dennis and Janice Dunzine, Dennis and Barbara Linder, Matating Inc., City of Oak Creek, and David and Colleen Wojciechowski. Legal description there follows. Date of notice, February 18th, 2026.
Great, thank you. Christy, before you start the presentation, if anybody wants to speak on any of these 4 items coming up, the one thing I would ask you, because we're trying something a little different here, Over on the wall, we do have some sign-in slips. It's just your name and address and that item you want to speak on. It's on that wall over there. Ask that you fill one out. It'll help us with our minutes and our records. So, Christie, you want to give the presentation on the 4 items now? Because they all kind of intermingle.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. I will describe the project in its entirety and each of the agenda items that were read by Catherine. However, we will, at the end of my presentation, we'll go back and eventually the Common Council will take action on items individually. So it's a big, complex project and a lot of different agenda items. But I think everyone's familiar with the Heyday project on the south side of Putes, just west of the freeway. There's a lot of different zoning going on. What they're proposing to do is to do a phase 2 expansion just to the west of their existing project. They have multiple applications. First is a comprehensive land use map amendment. They would like to amend the PUD that's already in place for their phase 1. They would like to rezone certain properties and do an official map amendment and then also a certified survey map to complete and move forward with phase 2. So phase 1 is identified on the map in front of you at the bottom right. They have 22 single-story buildings, 130 units among 47 acres. It's a very successful project for the developer. They have full occupancy and I believe wait lists. It's a new product to Oak Creek. It's single-story, no step rental units, and with their success, they're interested in doing a phase 2. So with the phase 2, which is highlighted in the red dashed area, they would have 10 single-story buildings, the same product that they have in their phase 1, and then along Putes to create a more definitive border, they would have 3 two-story buildings, so a total of 77 units. So altogether, phase 1 and phase 2 would cover 65 acres, just over 65 acres, and they would offer 207 units altogether. So Heyday, Oak Creek phase 2, just to break that down, again, 10 single-story rental homes, which are highlighted in the yellow and the blue in front of you, and then the orange units along Putes are 2-story, and these are all rentals. Some of the renderings that you see are the 2-story concept that they would have along Putes Road. And then again, the exact same product that you see for the phase 1 is what would be constructed for the yellow and the blue buildings on phase 2. They would have private streets. Currently, the only public road for the Heyday project is the well, it looks like a driveway, but it's technically a public road that goes down to the cul-de-sac. So this is all public right here, and then everything to the east for phase 1 are private roads, and phase 2 would have a continuation of all private roads, this loop here, and then a second driveway further to the west, which ties up and lines up with the condos on the north side of Putes Road. So these are the properties that we're talking about for the most part with this phase 2 project. A reminder that with phase 1, the developer wasn't able to meet the tree preservation ordinance requirements, which was brand new to the city. It was in 2022 when the city was adopting the zoning code. And so what the city agreed to through a development agreement was a land swap with Heyday. So this parcel right here was given to the city through a development agreement. It's 12 acres of land. And now with phase 2, they would they're proposing to develop part of that 12 acres. So phase 2 is highlighted here in the orange. So what they're ultimately asking for is for the city to give back some of that land, but then I'm going to talk further about this later on. Then they're offering another land swap to give the city the land at the hard corner of 27th and Putes here, because the developer does own this parcel here. So just to keep this in the back of your mind, the 12 acres that the city of Oak Creek owns today, we will be talking about approximately 5 acres going back to the developer, the city keeping ownership of the yellow, which I think the city would intend to never develop and keep as, open green space, recreational land to the public. So to talk a little bit further about that land swap, the applicant would get this 5.6 acres of that 12-acre site. The city would then in turn, the developer's offering a land swap and give the city 10.2 acres in this corner lot here, in lieu of the tree preservation, not being able to meet the tree preservation ordinance. The rest of the land that we're going to be talking about today, this green parcel right here is already owned by Hayday. It has been owned by Hayday. It's 7.7 acres. Hayday has also purchased and closed on this parcel, which was a single-family home. It's 2.6 acres. And then Hayday has this is under contract. They have a accepted offer to purchase another 2.85 acres. So to square all of this off, that's why they need the 5.6 acres of that one parcel that's owned by the city. So specifically, application number 1 and public hearing number 1 is discussing the comprehensive land use plan amendment. So for this particular application, we're only talking about 2 parcels. We're talking about this parcel that Hayday owns. So that's this one right here, the green, the 2.6 acres. And then we're talking about the 2.85 acres just to the west of that they have an offer to purchase. So in the city's comprehensive land use plan, those 2 parcels are identified as single-family detached, and their application is to change that to single-family attached, which meets the product that Hayday is offering. So that is application number 1 and public hearing number 1. I'm going to continue the presentation just so you can get the big picture of ultimately the multiple items that you'll be voting on this evening. So application number 2 is, and public hearing number 2 is to amend the planned unit development overlay. Hayday Phase 1 has a PUD overlay over the existing zoning, and that PUD back in 2022 gave some flexibilities, but it also specifically called out how many buildings and how many units could encompass the complex. And so in the red text before you, the main item to take away from the PUD amendment is to increase the number of buildings and increase the number of dwelling units for the entirety. So we'll basically stretch the PUD out to cover phase 2. So the conditions and restrictions would specifically call out 35 buildings and 207 dwelling units. 15 of those dwelling units can be 2-story buildings. And then the rest of it is just technical formalities that we changed in the PUD, such as the applicant's name, the property addresses. We called out some particular easements that have already been approved in the past. We updated some exhibits. And then also, since the code was in the process of being changed in 2022 when this was going through, we updated code references to different sections in Chapter 17, so they're more applicable to this particular project. But overall, big picture, just basically updating the number of buildings and number of units. So that's public hearing number 2. And then public hearing number 3 is to rezone all or a portion of, and then the addresses are listed here in front of you. So Hayday Phase 1 is this larger parcel here that you can see me pointing to. I'm not sure why, but for some reason it was left as split zoned. So this is all one parcel here. For some reason, part of it is zoned single family and part of it is zoned 2-family. It's a 2-family project. It's just poor practice to have one parcel with 2 different multiple zoning districts. So the first part of this application is to simply clean this up and to change all of the yellow to this kind of tan orangish color to the RD 2-family residential district. And then the second portion of the application is to continue west and change all of this yellow for these parcels from single family RS2 to RD1 2-family. And then also this parcel that the city owns is also split zoned. So again, just kind of cleaning this all up to be that orangish tannish color. So this is as it is today, and then this is the proposed rezone. So the zoning should follow property lines, and that's what this application is for. So cleaning up some past split zones, and then also the application is to move the project forward to zone all of Phase 2 and all of the city parcel to RD two-family residential. Just let's talk about density for a second here. The current Phase 1 has 130 units on 47 acres. That is 2.75 units per acre. The proposed Phase 2 has 77 units on 18 acres. That's 4.1 units per acre. As was on this previous slide, the RD1 does allow up to 5.8 dwelling units per acre, but their proposal is much lower than that, than what the zoning district technically allows for. Collectively, Phase 1 and Phase 2 would have a density of 3.14 acres. So again, the RS2 zoning does allow, like if it were all to stay that yellow single family, the density does allow up to 2.9 units per acre. But they're proposing to change it to two-family, and their proposed density is just slightly above what the single family would have allowed. And then the last public hearing is to amend the official map amendment. This is, the official map it's basically like it's a road layout in concept. It's not public right-of-way. It's, engineer planning for future, hey, if this site were to be developed, here's where we think the roads would best be laid out. But it's adopted through an ordinance. So when any development doesn't fit that pattern, we have to go through this official map amendment process. So you can see that here's Phase 2 in the blue, and you can see clearly that the road layout, there's going to be no public roads in Phase 2, and that red road layout is, the proposal is to erase it all. So if they were to only erase the sections that are in Phase 2, you have what's left here. I'm going to call them hanging chads. You've got like just a little bit of a cul-de-sac that's covering two properties here. You've got this like covering a sliver of a corner of this parcel, and then this cul-de-sac going up into this parcel that's owned by Heyday that the city could potentially own. It's just useless. And so the proposal is to erase everything in red, including this hanging cul-de-sac here off of Putes. And that just makes things clean because this is never going to be laid out like this. So that is the final public hearing item and application. We also have on the agenda, it wasn't read, so I'm not going to get into it, but next is a certified survey map to actually blend the parcels, and we can get into that after the public hearings are done, but I do have slide presentations for that as well. That concludes my portion of the public hearing presentation.
Great, thank you, Christy. Applicant, you want to say anything or just wait? Just wait. Okay, so we're going to start with the public hearings. The first one will be item 4. This concerns just the comp plan amendment as explained by our city planner to adjust that comprehensive plan. Category use from single-family detached to single-family attached. Once again, it's the properties at 2301 and 2321 West Putes. This will be the first call. Anybody wishing to speak on that subject, comp plan amendment? Second call?
Adam
Sure,
King, 20.
Name and
Yep, Adam
name and
King,
address, please.
2315 West Vista Bella, Oak Creek 53154. Are you guys going to vote after each one of these?
Yes. Yes, because the way they're laid out in the public hearing is the order in which they probably should be done.
My ignorance, I'm sorry.
No.
So if I have a comprehensive concern that's affected by each one of these things, I need to stand up and talk for each one of them before you vote then?
Yes, so this is changing the comprehensive. And the reason we're doing that is to kind of keep the minutes straight. And because it's all, it was hard for her to just say, okay, we're going to do the comp plan. I'm sure much like you, questions about that. That's why we tried to present it all in one big nutshell and break it down piece by piece. Oh, I'm sorry. Just for the record, can we get your name?
Adam King.
Adam King. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Second call, anybody wishing to speak on the comprehensive plan? Again, that's from changing it from single-family detached to single-family attached. Third and final call. Okay, I will now close the public hearing on 4. We'll go to item 5, which is consideration of the ordinance amending City of Oak Creek's 2020 comprehensive plan land use category from single-family detached to single-family attached for the properties located at 2301 and 2321 West Pewes. Open it up, council, questions. Greg?
So just for clarification, on this item, the majority of the property that the developer currently owns is already identified in the comprehensive plan as single-family attached. We're simply updating the 2 properties they have under contract that have single-family homes on them right now to match the rest of the property in the comp plan.
Yes and no, they do own the eastern one.
Okay,
Yep, they do own the eastern of these 2. They have they have a western of the 2 under contract.
okay.
But yes, the orange tan color identifies single family attached already in the comprehensive plan.
Okay, so we're just matching the 2 new properties they acquired to what's already existing around them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing no questions, motion please on 5.
Kukowski makes a motion. Common Council Resolution 3146. City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Plan Use Category from single-family detached to single-family attached for the properties located at 2301 and 2321 West Pewes Road. Gail, a second.
I'm sorry, Mayor. It's an ordinance rather than a resolution.
Oh,
Items are correct, but the ordinance, it should reflect ordinance on the agenda.
oh. Okay, so it stands corrected from resolution to ordinance. Okay? Seconds fine. Is that
Seconds,
amended?
yep.
Okay. All in favor of item 5?
Roll call, Danny.
Oh, I'm sorry, thanks. Roll call?
Alderwoman Marshall? Aye. Gale?
Aye.
Guzekowski?
Aye.
Haas? Aye. Lorick?
Aye.
Okay, no. Item 6 will be the second public hearing, and this is a consideration to request an amendment to the existing Plan Unit Development Overlay District, a PUD, with conditions and restrictions for Haydale Creek, a single-family attached residential development on the properties located at 2119, 2263, 2301, 2321 West Pewes, and 8830 South 27th Street. This will be the first call about amending that plan. First call. Second call. Third and final call. Okay, we will now close the public hearing on item 6. And we will move on to item 7, which is consideration of an ordinance, number 3147, amending an existing Plan Unit Development Overlay District, PUD, with conditions and restrictions for Haydale Creek, a single-family attached residential development on the properties located at 2119, 2263, 2301, 2321 West Pewes Road, and 8830 South 27th Street, and tax keys as listed. Okay. Council? Greg?
Just to clarify with these 4 items, I make sure that I'm going through each one correctly. So this one's just extending the plan unit development. Now that there's going to be a phase 2, it's extending the boundaries of the planned unit development and increasing the maximum number of buildings allowed since they now have more land to put buildings.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing none, Motion. 7.
Kukowski makes the motion. Town council. 4-7, amending unit development overlay district and restrictions for Hayday Oak Creek, a single-family attached residential development on the property located at 2119, 2063, 2301, and 2321 West Road, and 30 South 27th Street.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Gillis, aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye.
Now we'll go to item 8, third public hearing. This is consideration to request to rezone all or portions of the property located at 2119, 2263, 2301, 2321 West Putes Road, and 8830 South 27th Street from RS2 Single Family Residential to RD1 Two-Family Residential. This will be the first call on that rezone.
Not to interrupt your calls, but knowing some of the feedback I've received and people that might be speaking today, I don't think that the official map is what's affected. So I don't know if I can say that this would be an appropriate time because there's only 2 more public hearings, this one and the official map. So knowing a resident might want to speak, I think this is the one.
Okay, thank you for the input, Greg. Appreciate it. Come on up, sir.
Adam King. My concern's always just been what Putes looks like when this is finished. The road that they're talking about constructing to connect to West Vista Bella on the west side is directly across from my unit. So every single car that comes out of that traffic circle is going to stop and look directly at my unit. If you drive down Putes right now, cars doing 20 to 70 don't have time to look in my window. But every single person that stops at that new intersection that's going to be created is going to look directly at my house with my window where my daughters sleep and I sleep and my neighbor's daughters sleep, and there's no kind of coverage for that. We're talking about adding 77 buildings. That's going to be a 60% increase of what they've already built. The traffic has got to go up significantly with that cut that they're talking about building. And I don't know if this is where we're saying, yes, we approve this cut, but I'm not happy about that cut where that road's going. It wasn't approved for the Grays Lane because whatever reason, the original cut wasn't approved. Somebody stomped their feet. I'm not happy about this cut. I really don't like it. I don't understand why it can't just be how it is now and have everybody exit out of the one roundabout circle that's there.
Well, I'll defer to our city engineer for traffic, but the one thing I can say that we always try to do is have 2 routes in and out.
And that route's already technically there with the gate that's there, so why does this one need to be built?
I don't know which gate.
There's an exit on Gray's Lane that's been on that cul-de-sac right there. There's already an entrance there. That should have been built properly the first time. It wasn't, for whatever reason. It's still technically there.
We discussed it at planning. Technically, Gray's Lane should have hooked up, but
Yes.
that's neither here nor there. Again, off of Putes, to have the fire engines go that way. I'm not an expert on it, but I'll defer the traffic cut. Can Matt take that one?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. So when we speak of 2 entrances, we look at primarily that development itself, entrance into the area where the units are going to be. So that one entrance would be off of the cul-de-sac, we'll call it, or roundabout, and then the secondary one would be off of Pewits. As far as traffic on Pewits, we're probably looking at about a 60% capacity right now of where we're at. The increase of traffic that we received through the impact analysis that was provided was very minimal. We're probably looking at 100 vehicles traveling in and out. Now they split that traffic. Now, can we always predict where people go? No, that's kind of one of those things that go through it. They split the traffic probably 40-60, probably 60% coming through the new entrance versus 40. Out of engineering and capacity and function and level of service, we don't see any concerns.
Just to address the location of the cut, is it common to do that?
We like to make intersections. We don't like to have offset intersections. We like to control access points, meaning a four-way intersection is better than two three-legged intersections for safety.
I totally get that, and I agree with that. I still don't like it, and there have been 2 accidents recently right at that intersection where Heyday is now, that the original entrance that they have, and I don't know, a red light there and have all the traffic go through there, a roundabout and have all the traffic go through there. The amount of traffic that seems to be coming down Putes now just keeps growing and growing, and just one more cut doesn't seem right to me, and I don't like it being directly across from my house. And I think the numbers are low just for the fact of we know it's 77 single family attached units with 2-car garages, so that makes it 154 cars that are able to park there, and that's not including any of the food, Amazon, delivery vehicles that are going in there, garbage vehicles, and all of those things too. I mean, and I didn't know this previously, but all of the roads, all the houses that they're talking about building on Putes are 2-story, which has me even more concerned now with what's the landscaping going to look like? Is there going to be on our side of the road on Putes, there's a burn, there's trees, there's all of these things that kind of block that. Right now I look out off my balcony or out of my windows, I see 4 houses. Now I'm going to see at least 15 from just on Putes. That's not including any additional ones I might see that are behind those houses.
Oh, I get you. And I mean, we talked about this at planning. I think the applicant, he wants to try to address it. He can, but I believe, depending on the drainage, because right now it's a very low area. I don't know what they're inclined to do, but I thought they were including from last time.
Okay. Not happy, don't love it.
Understood, Adam. That was my first call, right? Oh, thank you. Second call? Anybody wishing to speak? He said it all. Third and final call. Okay, we will close that public hearing, which was 8. Move on to consideration of the ordinance rezoning all or portions of the properties located at 2119, 2263, 2301, 2321 West Putes, 8830 South 27th Street from RS2 Single Family Residential to RD1 Two Family Residential District, and the tax keys as listed. Council? Greg?
So I realize that this item is just rezoning the remaining half of the property, so or not rezoning. Is this?
It's
It's for all the parcels highlighted in black here.
Correct.
All
So
of these. Yep.
the middle portion, half of the one property that's not matching the rest of the property.
Yep.
And then the new parcels
Correct.
to rezone, so it's all one comprehensive zoned property.
Correct. Yes.
So, and I know a lot of the concerns brought up have to do with the site plan, and that's all going to be reviewed at planning. I think there's valid concerns there that should be spoken about and looked at. But as far as the rezone, just to match these properties, I don't see an issue with the rezone, but definite valid concerns brought up by the residents across the street. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, motion then.
Council accepts ordinance number 3148, rezoning all or portions of the properties located at 2119, 2260, 2301, and 2321 West Puget Road, and 8830 South 27th Street, RD1 two-family residential district.
Marshall will second.
Roll call?
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye. And our fourth public hearing, our fourth and final, is an official map amendment. This is to consider a request to amend the official map affecting the properties located at 2263, 2301, 2321, as well as 2345, 2411 West Putes Road, and 8700, 8810, 8830 South 27th Street, 2320 West Grays Lane. So, I will make 3 calls. This will be the first call. Anybody wishing to speak? Second call? Third and final call. Okay, we will now close the public hearing on 10 and consider ordinance number 3149, amending section 6.01 of the municipal code of the city of Oak Creek, amending the official map affecting the properties located at 2263, 2301, 2321, 2345, 2411 West Putes Road, as well as 8700, 8810, 8830 South 27th Street, and 2320 West Grays Lane. Council, open it up for questions. Okay. Yes, before we do, just, if I could have the applicant just kind of come up about the landscape, just refresh my memory. I know this really isn't the rezone, but I think I'd like a refresher just on the landscape that the resident brought. If you could, please.
Ryan Swingruber, 987 Bosworth Field Road, Barrington, Illinois. I'm with Heyday. And so, yeah, at the last meeting, we discussed that we would work with the neighboring community and we'd look at the drainage out there and enhance the landscape as long as it doesn't impact the drainage. But from our standpoint, if there's concerns in terms of visibility and whatnot, we're happy to present. I don't know if it'd be appropriate at the next meeting when we're going to discuss some of the concerns in the site plan brought up by the neighbors. We could propose and work with Sigma on what an enhanced landscape plan would be. We've set precedent from that on phase 1. We've had multiple neighbors adjacent at the entrance, and also as you enter the property and you get closer to Grays, where we've worked with them and added fencing, decorative vinyl fencing, and also enhanced landscape to shield their property from ours. So we're more than open and willing to make some presentations next time on what's possible, taking into consideration the drainage. So we'll definitely put our best foot forward. I mean, if that's a concern, we're more than happy. I'm always for improving the landscaping. So
Good. Well, thank you for refreshing my memory, because honestly I couldn't remember, but I know there is drainage.
yeah, and I believe we'll have another meeting pending this vote on the site plan, and we're more than happy to bring an elevation and show a landscaping plan specific to Putes to try to address some of the concerns that I believe are just visibility and shielding and things like that. So
It'll be in the March 14th Plan Commission agenda, if I remember correctly.
okay, yeah.
No, not April, jeez. It's already March 17th, hello. April 14th.
So it's the same design
13th.
consultants from phase 1, Sigma Engineering, based out here in Milwaukee, and their landscape team that walked the property after it was done. We improved some things. So we're more than happy to do that. So we'll look forward to just presenting that next time.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, there's no further questions or discussion. Motion.
Ordinance number 3149, section 6.1 of the municipal code of the city of Oak Creek, amending the official map affecting properties located at 27th Street and 2320 West Grays Lane.
Gill will second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Haas. Aye. Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Thank you all for your patience with that. Appreciate it. Item 12 is consideration of a resolution now approving a certified survey map combining and reconfiguring the properties located at 2263, 2301, 2321 West Buttes, and 8830 South 27th Street. Christie, you just want to explain that, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, Christy Lane, Community Development Director. So the certified survey map, it combines the land that we've been discussing, the land owned by Hayday, highlighted in green, the land under contract, highlighted in yellow, and then they're proposing approximately 5 acres of the city-owned parcel, highlighted in red. So phase 2, collectively, that certified survey map creates what's called Lot 1, which is 18.6 acres, and then it would leave 6.4 acres of the city-owned parcel left for the city. Now, a condition of the certified survey map is that a development agreement between the developer and the city of Oak Creek is executed, outlining the compensation and the land swap for modifying the city's tree preservation requirements. So that certified survey map will not be recorded until the Common Council has reviewed and, if so chooses, approves a development agreement for the land swap to acquire the 10 acres, 10 acres here at the hard corner of 27th and Buttes. So just wanted to point out that that is a condition of approval of the certified survey map. That concludes what they're proposing. They would create a lot 1 for phase 2, and then it would carve off and give the city 6.4 acres of what used to be about 12 acres of land owned by the city. The city would be a party to signing that CSM as well, since we own part of the land.
Christie.
You're welcome.
Is there any question? Greg?
Just, I don't think the overlay of the development encroaches, but that the wetland that's delineated on the CSM, that's being avoided by the development, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And also there's a secondary environmental corridor that will not be touched as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for Melissa. Can we approve an ordinance? Or is this one a resolution? Can we approve a resolution for a certified survey map with a condition in it?
It's a great question, Alderwoman Marshall. We typically have on our CSMs any conditions that need to be met, or excuse me, as a condition of approval in our resolutions. So this is standard. It's just something a little bit unique to this project. I mean, we always have any minor corrections, any adjustments that might need to be made by the creator of the CSM. So this is one that really is just calling to your attention, something a little bit different.
All right, thank
So
you.
yes.
You and Greg probably could answer Goose too. Our proposed swap of our current acreage with the lot 4, did the applicants or anybody aware of any environmental, what's the original use of that property? Is it did you guys discuss that at all, or did it come up?
Well, in the past, multiple people have owned it. It's always come up, it's very wet. The way the wetlands lay out, we probably don't have an overlay for that. And then just the way it sat, coming up from Grays Lane, really wasn't very accessible across the wetlands. So before they owned it, folks before them. So for us, it was probably
Do we know if there was
but environmentally, not that I'm aware of. That was a phase
no
1.
historic use? Where?
Yeah, it's been natural.
Well, I remember I'm just we take ownership of
Something being
unknown
done.
lands. The things we discover after the fact is always a concern. Because look at what we found on Drexel Avenue when we expanded it. We didn't know what we got. So
And I'm
Yeah,
sure,
we would do our due
I'm
diligence.
sure we would
just
do it on phase
phase
1.
one. and ask for all records that the owner has. Yep. agree.
As long as that's part of the condition, or if you can make that part of the condition, somehow
Sure.
do a screen of some sort there.
Or
just
it
make
will
sure.
probably, okay, yep, part of the development agreement, but, well, yep.
Okay. Although, yes, fellas, come on up. Name and address.
Josh Walreich, 313 Surrey Lane in Lake Forest, Illinois. I'm pretty sure we did a phase one over everything that we bought when we bought the property. So I'm almost positive we have a phase one on file that we can share with the city for the corner parcel that is lot 4 on what we're looking at right now. Yeah, we wouldn't have purchased anything that was, flagged in a phase one, so.
Thank you for making. Okay, although not a public hearing, public did come out for this. If anybody, if this is unclear, this portion of it, welcome to come out. Okay, seeing none, call for a motion.
Guzekowski makes town council resolution number 1259 finding properties located at 2301 and 2321 West Puget Road and South 27th Street.
Yeah, I'll second.
Roll call?
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all for your patience with that. Those 12 items, actually. 8 items. New business. Item 13 is consideration of a motion to amend the personnel policy 5.13.1, compensatory time, and personnel policy 5.13.2, overtime, to implement in the FLSA status change for the battalion chief positions. Go, Tara. How are you?
I'm good, how are you? Human Resources Director, Tony Vanderboom. As stated, we're here to talk about proposed revisions to 2 policies, specifically those governing comp time and overtime. And we're talking about that because last month we have changed the status for our battalion chief position from FLSA exempt to non-exempt. So those positions are now eligible for overtime. However, our policies were written with a 40-hour FLSA period in mind. Our battalion chiefs have a different FLSA period, so we need to make those amendments so that those policies align with this different work group. At the same time, we have a couple of housekeeping revisions to these policies.
Thank you. Chief Kresick, do you want to add anything or just wait on any? Okay. Council? Questions, comments?
This was, this came through personnel, obviously. We talked on this a couple times. This is basically housekeeping after findings. This was basically a necessity. We were long late in actually adopting this.
I believe we are one of the last municipalities not to correct it, if not the last. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, motion on 13.
Yeah, I'll move to amend the personal policy 5.13.1 and personal policy 5.13.2 to implement the FLSA status change for the battalion chief position.
Marshall will second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Item 14 is consideration of a resolution determining necessity for the acquisition of property interest in a portion of 9648 South Chicago Road in the city of Oak Creek, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So you got it?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, this is, just as it says, this is a resolution for the council to consider. This is in anticipation of our embarking on the process to acquire property for the construction of our future public fire station. And this is the next piece for the council to approve so that we can move forward with the next steps with the property owner. So as part of this process statutorily, a condemnation can only be for a public use purpose, and there needs to be what they call just compensation to the property owner. So this resolution sets forth those specific pieces and how this is a public purpose because it's a fire station. And then in addition to that, I would just point out that the property located at 9648 South Chicago Road, it is considered by the county as one contiguous parcel. It is one parcel, one tax key, but it is bifurcated by South Fifth Avenue. So just for clarity, when we are referring to a portion of 9648 South Chicago Road, it's the northernmost portion at the corner there of Highway 100 and Highway 32. Point being, it is only what is necessary. So for our purposes of moving forward, that's what we believe is necessary. In terms of next steps, we would proceed to communicate with the property owner or their representative. We would seek an appraisal and hopefully come to a mutually agreeable resolution. I'm happy to answer any other questions. My last piece would just point out that this process is only used for limited purposes. It could not be for something for economic development or any private gain. So it meets those criteria. Thank you.
Any questions for Melissa? Greg?
I'm just reading through the resolution. Does it say there the reason for the condemnation?
Yes, to establish a fire station. Probably up in the initial whereas
okay.
clause.
I guess
Yeah.
my question is, what's the current status of the property? Like, what's the property right now? Just empty land?
It's undeveloped.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, motion on 14.
Marshall will move to pass resolution number 12664-031726, determining necessity for acquisition of property interest in a portion of 9648 South Chicago Road in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, Milwaukee County.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski. Haas. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Item 15 is consideration of a resolution authorizing closing under the option to purchase agreement with SSV Oak Creek 1 LLC. Again, Melissa?
Thank you, Mayor. Nice to have back-to-back items like Christie. But also talking about another corner in the city for future development. In terms of controlling our destiny, this is a land purchase that the council approved back in September of 2025, engaging or availing ourselves, I guess, of an option to purchase this property. It's approximately 28 acres, College and Howell. The seller, SSV Oak Creek 1 LLC, is out of Colorado. We've had a lot of due diligence done, exchanging of information, environmental reviews, and certainly a more current Alta survey was provided. Many thanks to our city engineer and our director of community development for reviewing all of those documents. Isn't I Ken? And we are poised to close. So by the end of the month, and actually next Thursday, we're moving forward with ensuring that some work is done on the property for cleanup, which is being completed. And in addition to that, it really poises the city in a great spot for what comes next. So happy to answer questions, and if Andrew had anything to add.
Thanks, Melissa. I just want to say thanks for the heavy lift too with the team. First, we had a great partner here in helping the city acquire this property. You can see it's a very reasonable price, and it's a very strategic piece for our economic development goals moving forward. So thank you to the council for this investment. I think we will be certain to use it wisely in the future. But our team really, it's great to negotiate these things and have these approvals go forward finally. But there's a lot of work in the background. So just thankful to Melissa for all the work with the future closing and all the work that's been done, I think. Matt personally walked the property just a couple weeks back to identify the punch list items that still need to be corrected. So just a great team effort all around. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Rick, Ken?
Thanks, and I think just overall for the community, this is a great move by the city, and it may not be this council, but some council in the future would be very happy with.
I agree, very strategic. Council is very forward thinking. Okay, seeing no more questions or discussion, motion on 15.
Sorry, go Alicia.
Haas moves to adopt resolution number 12665-031726, authorizing closing under the option to purchase agreement with SSV Oak Creek 1 LLC.
York seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 16 is to consider a motion to concur with the mayor's appointment of Kathleen Porter, 8730 South Wood Creek Drive, to the Celebrations Commission for a 3-year term expiring April of 2029. You do have the application in your packet. If there are any questions, please take the floor. And before I call for a motion, I'm just going to thank Kathleen for stepping forward as a citizen to donate her time and talents to the city of Oak Creek. Greatly appreciate it. There's no further comments. Motion?
Marshall moved to concur with the mayor's appointment of Kathleen Porter, 8731 South Wood Creek Drive, to the Celebrations Commission for a 3-year term expiring 4/2029.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Hess.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Item 17 is under community development. It's consideration of an ordinance to repeal and recreate section 15.300 of the municipal code regarding community aesthetic preservation and to repeal and recreate section 1.26 of the municipal code regarding authorization use of citations. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. Creek Code. So this has been a concept. The program has been a concept for five or 6 years. Excuse me, the concept was created about 5 or 6 years ago. The Common Council approved a new position to enforce Creek Code, and we've had that position filled for many, many years. However, there was never anything in the municipal code that necessarily gave that position ownership of what the city called Creek Code and the Neighborhood Preservation Program. There are many sections of the municipal code that the Neighborhood Preservation Officer cites, different chapters ranging from health to building code to streets to motor vehicles, and that will continue. But the code that's before you actually gives this position some teeth and really lays out what the expectations are as far as maintenance standards for properties throughout the city. So we have section 15.300, it lives in the building code. However, most of the text, I would say 3 times the text, focuses on enforcement, serving the violator, and citations. And we've got only just this little paragraph right here that highlights what the expectation is for maintenance. So the draft ordinance that's before you and in the program itself, the main issues are to continue to focus on junk vehicles, homes missing, siding, improper parking, illegal home-based businesses. That's always going to be the main issues and focus of that neighborhood preservation officer. But this code that repeals and recreates section 15.300 really does focus on what the standards are, and it goes into a lot of detail. It doesn't necessarily mean that this position is going to go look for a property that has a corner, of peeling paint, but it does give the ability through the text, through the additional text, to be able to enforce various violations. Also, this section, it basically gives ownership of the Creek Code program to the Neighborhood Preservation Officer position. It does provide definitive and detailed lists of property, premises, building, maintenance standards. And it also states a clause that is called transfer of ownership. So we have a practice throughout the city when there is going to be a change of ownership. Title companies usually reach out to the city and various departments, go through their list and sign off. And our department reviews any code enforcement issues that may exist. And when we flag it, we identify it in that sheet, and they can choose to ignore it, or they can choose to act on it. And the title company may say, hey, you know, just so you know, there's an enforcement issue on this particular property. But this one paragraph in the draft code actually states it'll be unlawful for the ownership of a dwelling structure who has received a compliance order to transfer ownership. So what that section is going to do is going to allow staff to actually cite, hey, if this were to transfer ownership, it will be in violation of section 15.300 paren G. It doesn't mean it's going to create extra work for staff, not going to go chasing, but it is a red flag, definitely a red flag when we can cite a section of the code that they would be in violation of when transferring ownership. Other than that, there's also a section at the end of the code, draft ordinance, that lists and cleans up those positions or their designees that have the authority to provide citations. The neighborhood preservation officer is specifically listed in that section, which is 1.26. And that pretty much sums up the draft ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, questions for Christie?
Quick question, I
Yeah,
think.
go ahead, Greg.
In the wording of this, is this existing already, or is this ordinance completely new?
Are you talking about the whole thing or just that
I'm
particular
just reading
paragraph?
through, and this may be just curious on my part. Insect screens, number 15, is that a requirement elsewhere?
Sure.
Has that always been a requirement?
No, that's a new one. In this trade, you try not to reinvent the wheel when unnecessary, and so we did take a lot of language from other municipal codes, other code enforcement sections of other municipalities. And yeah, I think technically that paragraph was verbiage that another municipality used.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Ken?
Just a comment, and I know Christie and others have worked long and hard on this ordinance. I appreciate the effort. I know it's been a heavy lift there, and I think some long-suffering neighbors of some of these properties in this community will be very happy to maybe take a little more forthright and assertive approach to some of the code violations that have gone on for far too long.
Thank you. We're always happy to hear from elected officials. You know, if there's a particular property in mind, please feel free to reach out to us.
I do agree. It's we've had it in place, but putting some teeth to it will help move along some of the more nuisance properties that we experience in the city on a regular basis.
I guess I have one more question
Yeah,
then.
go ahead, Greg.
Just to clarify, as an example, and I'm not looking to interpret everything, but if they open their windows wide open over here at like Bel Air during the summer, do those need to be covered with the screen now? Or am I misinterpreting this altogether? Can that not be wide open into the restaurant?
No, that could be wide open. It's basically preventing cut screens.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So if you have a screen, it needs to be in good condition.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I'll add my 2 cents if you don't mind. I think a lot of the neighborhood preservation officer's work resides in the very long description under debris and refuse, which we've beefed up a little bit. So I know we get into other minor details. Our priority will remain on nuisance properties, not properties that may have nuisances on them. If you can see that distinction, a lot of this work is going to live in that, which are very non-controversial. You know, very think something everybody can rally behind, that we don't want those things to persist in our neighborhood or our community. So I just thought I'd add that. That's a pretty significant paragraph here.
I'll just add before we move forward, super excited about this. This has been a big concern of a lot of my residents. Thank you to everybody who's played into giving them a little bit more teeth, because this is a great step forward for everybody for Creek Code.
There's no further discussions or questions. Motion on 17.
Gail moves to approve ordinance 3150 to repeal and recreate section 15.300 of the municipal code regarding community aesthetic preservation, and repeal and recreate section 1.26 of the municipal code regarding authorization, use of citations.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
And item 18 is consideration of a resolution approving City of Oak Creek's Park and Open Space Plan for 2026 through 2031.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually would like to introduce our consultant. Morgan from MSA is here, and she has a brief presentation before the Common Council to explain the Parks and Open Space Plan, which is anticipated to be adopted through a resolution. The Park and Recreation Commission has spent almost a year going over this plan, and we're in the city staff and the commission has worked diligently with MSA, who's done extensive surveys throughout the community, and has really done a great job for the city. The city's very pleased with the product that they are offering us, and the city is well overdue to update its Park and Open Space Plan. Last time the city adopted the plan was 2013. And per state, if in order to qualify for grants, your plan can't be older than 5 years. So we're well overdue for a new plan. So with that, I would like to introduce Morgan with MSA, and she's got a presentation for you.
Hey, thank you all for having me. I will do a brief presentation talking to you all about the Parks and Open Space Plan. So, down to advance. Just checking. Okay, so Christy kind of hit on it, but what is the purpose of a Park and Open Space Plan? So the main purposes, more generally speaking, is guiding annual budget decisions and capital improvement projects as it pertains to parkland acquisition, upgrades, trail development, pedestrian improvements around parks. It's a chance to hear from residents, get an inventory of the current park system, set goals moving towards the future, looking at the demographic changes the community has had, what are the recreational changes that have happened since the previous plan, and then, like Christy said, required in Wisconsin in order to be eligible for certain state and federal park and recreation grants. Okay, so why update now? The last plan was in 2013, and I would like to kind of highlight the achievements of the 2013 plan. And the reason why this update was necessary is because, largely speaking, most of the goals that were set out in the 2013 plan are now established fact in the city. So Emerald Preserve wasn't there when the last plan was proposed. It was just a future park outline. Lake Vista Park also was just a dream that was being planned out. Abendschein Park was in the process of master planning and phased developments. So most of these large planning projects that were outlined in 2013 are now seen and lived in the community. Being able to get that update for the grant requirements. I'd also like to say there's been updates to the comprehensive plan. There's been updates to the state Park and Open Space Plan, the Milwaukee County Park and Open Space Plan. So this is also an opportunity to look at all the other relevant plans that have undergone updates since the 2013 Park and Open Space Plan. And just want to highlight the objectives, which is to identify areas for improvement and expansion, develop strategies to address long-term recreational needs, enhance connectivity, and promote environmental sustainability. So just kind of walking you through the general table of contents, I'm sure you guys are all very busy. Not sure if you had a chance to review the entirety of the plan, but it's laid out pretty clear. We kind of take a less is more approach in terms of how we structure our content. And then in the appendix, you'll also find full documentation of all the results from our survey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, and all the mapping that our wonderful GIS team did for this plan. I'd like to think about the planning process in 3 parts, which is public engagement, best practices, and then the data. So for the data element of things, we really look to what the best available is. So for us, that's looking to the National Recreation Park Association for nationwide data as far as park systems go, looking at the Department of Administration for projections for populations. Of course, the U.S. Census Bureau, essential for any planning effort, looking at how demographics have changed in the community. For public engagement, we underwent a pretty robust public engagement process that included 2 pop-up events. One was at a farmer's market and one was at a beer garden, where we basically tabled, talked to residents, had strategic activities for both kids and adults to kind of get feedback on the park system. We had almost 800 survey responses, which is, in my experience of doing a lot of park plans, very good engagement response. As we all know, surveys struggle to sometimes reach people. I thought we got a really good feedback. And then throughout the process, checking in with the Parks and Recreation Commission, having meetings where we provided draft updates to them during the planning process. So some public engagement highlights. There's a ton, so it's like hard to pull what's there's not necessarily a most important, but just like to kind of pull some interesting highlights as far as engagement goes. The pie chart on the left is actually from our in-person engagement, where we basically do like a puffball activity where we ask residents how they would manage the park system with a set amount of funding allocated. And you can see here that new amenities was the most popular, followed by maintenance, and then kind of tied near the bottom was new parks and ecological management, but relatively even spread throughout. When asked to rate conditions of elements within the park system, I would say that very positive. You can see that light blue at the high is good, so it's not the top rating, but the second to the top. That one probably had the highest engagement. Restroom cleanliness was the most kind of mixed response, which is, I guess, to be expected in most park systems. We also specifically asked about a dog park because that was something we had heard about kind of early in the engagement process. That was a conversation because of the closing of the runway dog park by the county, which they were required to do legally. And we got mostly positive support with most of the neutral or negative, just people that don't own dogs, don't have an opinion, that kind of thing. Looking at the acres of parkland that the city has compared to not just the population right now, but looking into the future. Oak Creek is projected to grow as a population, and right now where it sits is below the median acres per 1,000 residents. So something to consider about the park system as a whole is the importance of future acquisition. I will say, I know that there's the potential for some acquisition and additional parkland happening in the near future, so these numbers will likely change, but also important to keep in mind the balance between passive and active recreation, and then also staff maintenance costs and capacity as upgrades and acquisitions happen. Looking at some of our maps. So one of the first things we did, we visited every single park and then we mapped every single park. So we're looking at what's on the ground in each park, how are the conditions of the parks. And then another thing that we do is we basically take a radius. So for the community parks, Abendschein, Lake Vista, we're looking at 2-mile service areas because people are likely going to travel to those parks. And then for the smaller neighborhood parks, we're looking, can people walk there in about 10 minutes? And then we take the residentially zoned parcels and say, okay, what are the areas that are zoned residential that are not within walking distance of a park at the moment or within driving distance? And then this map, the green areas that are in the green transparent bubbles, those are all areas where residents can walk to parks. And then those light yellow parcels are people that are outside, slightly outside walking distance of a city park, just to say that this doesn't account for the fact that there are a lot of county parks, neighboring jurisdictional parks. We're just looking at how the Oak Creek Park system holds up. Another thing we did is look at connectivity within the park system through the bikeway network and looking at being able to have high quality, safe bike trails that connect at all the parks. I will say that, you can see right now that it's been kind of an intentional and deliberate effort, which, even from the 2013 plan to create those connected bikeway networks to the Oakleaf Trail and stuff. And you can see not just the successes that have happened, but also the continued plans for improved connectivity through bikeways for the park system. Looking at the kind of system-wide recommendations, these don't necessarily have a set time frame, but these aren't ones that apply to any individual park, but just looking at the system as a whole. The first is neighborhood park identities. That was something that I had talked when I was doing the inventory. We just realized that a lot of the neighborhood parks have the same amenities, kind of same offerings, but as we know, neighborhoods kind of develop and change. Like some neighborhoods are a lot younger, some neighborhoods might be more senior residents, and thinking about how to kind of give parks unique identities to the neighborhoods that they're located in, or as recreation or improved recreational facilities happen, being kind of considerate of what the area is so that the park system can kind of have a diverse needs met through the facility offerings. Second is identifying new park locations for a cricket field and a dog park. And we do in the plan propose three kind of potential locations for doing so. The cricket, I think it's actually a cricket pitch, has been very highly used by the Milwaukee Cricket Club. I think that's their name. Super active, but the space is not quite big enough, and it kind of bumps into the playground and the skate park next to it. So trying to think about a space that could be more dedicated to the actual area required to play the game. And dog park, like I said, after the closing of Runway Dog Park. Continually improving bikeways and recreational trails, making sure that the system keeps up with, of bikeways keeps up with the system of parks and vice versa, so that it's always kind of a balance between the two as far as priorities go for the city. And then impact fee evaluations. So routinely upgrading impact fees, making sure that the community is getting the most public benefit that they can from the development happening in the city, and making sure that that goes back into the park system in a fair and balanced way. Sorry, I actually went the wrong way. Last thing, the capital improvement plan. So after basically the 2013 plan, everything was mostly done from that plan. So we inventoried, we looked at the conditions, and then afterwards we had a meeting with staff and Public Works and just talked about each park one by one, saying, okay, realistically, what can get upgraded and in what time frame, keeping in mind that Public Works is doing a lot right now and their staff capacity is limited. So we tried to keep it reasonable, but also try to hit on some of the things. So, realistically, the timeline for replacing playground facilities and stuff, and understanding that things could change, as donations could come in or grants could come in, but trying to kind of hit on the most important points that could improve the current park system in the next 5 years, or some might end up, rolling into the next park plan, which hopefully will be in another 5 years and not kind of not go back over a decade as the last one. But so don't get sticker shock. This is just about trying to plan for the next 5 years in total. But yeah, would love if there was any thoughts or questions. That's my whole presentation. And I hope you all, if you didn't already, have a chance to read the plan. Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Questions, comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm confused at the fact that you reviewed Oak Creek City Parks but didn't take into account any of the county facilities.
So
Is there a reason why? And
Yeah.
Because those are things that our residents use.
Yes, totally. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
She kind of went through it.
Yeah. I would say that we do take into account that the county parks are there. So like if you go to the previous one, we do like highlight that there are plenty of county parks. I think the reason why that we don't incorporate them into our planning effort is because the city doesn't necessarily have control over what facilities get improved and at what timeline.
I know that. But again, it is part, and I do think it should be considered in our park and open space plan.
Yeah.
I know we don't have control of it.
Yes.
Bender Park is in my district. I get it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I definitely hear you. When we were doing the public engagement, of course, like people go to parks and they don't necessarily feel like I'm going to a city park, I'm going to a county park. So we got plenty of comments about Bender Park or other county park facilities that aren't necessarily within the maintenance control of the city. So, we received that feedback, and that feedback you can also see in the survey too. I'm sure there's comments about Bender Park and stuff as far as feedback goes. So we definitely don't shut anybody down when they're speaking about the county park system, but is there necessarily like an avenue for us to then take that feedback and make it something implementable, which is kind of like the core of the planning process? Like what implementable things can we do? That's kind of where it got limited just in terms of our scope of this project, but don't want to minimize the importance of collaborating, working with Milwaukee County, and the fact that these major parks are located in the city of Oak Creek. It's just that the scope of this plan and where it's at, it is limiting us to not consider the county parks as far as like city acreage of parkland goes and stuff like that.
I could add. So the park, the county park facilities or other park facilities are contemplated in the plan, just not necessarily a detailed inventory of what's all there, how it could be improved, all the things we don't have policy or fiscal control over.
Yes.
So it's not like it's ignored. Maybe even another example is in the bikeway plan. It's certainly connecting.
Yeah, to the Oak Leaf Trail and county park bike trails for sure. Yes, that's probably a better way to state it.
Just interesting timing on the report pointing out that 27th and Putes could be a potential location for a dog park, and we were just discussing the land swap on that property.
I know, I was listening on the live stream.
However, my question is, there's a table in the back about grant funding.
Yes.
And it doesn't list anything about dog parks. Is there any type of grant funding for dog parks, being that property is fairly wooded and overgrown right now?
I would say none that come to mind. Sometimes, and we have a funding team that is great at MSA, but a lot of times what you can do is potentially specific parts of a dog park, like restrooms or something, can be funded by a grant, like portions of it. But there is not one like state grant that specifically is for the for the development of dog parks. And I guess, frankly, a lot of times in the communities I work with, that ends up potentially being a collaboration with the community or or the private sector in some way.
And you do these plans for other municipalities?
Yeah, this is like this is my bread and butter, is kind of working with communities, especially in the Milwaukee area, on park plans. Yeah.
Another question is, in traveling to other communities and seeing other parks and other facilities that they have, I'm not saying pro or against, but oftentimes I'll see large corporate sponsors that provide things at certain parks, and
Yeah.
yes, their name's plastered all over certain things.
Yeah.
How common is that, or is that ever a recommended avenue to pursue? I mean, there are large
Yes.
dog food facilities in the area.
Yeah. I would say that I've seen it be very successful. Recently did a park plan with Menominee Falls. They've got, huge amounts of park facilities that were paid for by the private sector. But I would also say that it's always important to continued maintenance costs. So you don't want to be in a situation necessarily where you get a big funding up front and then there's no plan for continued maintenance costs. So I always like to think about it like balanced and holistically, also keeping in mind like your staff that is dedicated to park maintenance is small for the size of the community. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as you consider avenues of private funding, but certainly would not discourage it by any means. And I think it's always important to kind of explore avenues, especially, funding can be challenging and there's lots of other priorities in communities. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Not a question, but just a comment. I had a chance to read through the plan in its entirety over the weekend, and I just want to say incredibly well done. It looks like there was a ton of effort put into this. I was beyond impressed with the survey responses. I found myself just reading and stop at
They're
some
very
point because I
engaging.
realized how many- just the vast amount of surveys that you did dive into.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed by the feedback the community gave as well. Because
Yeah.
it's very consistent with what we hear from residents.
Yeah.
What I've thought about myself. So I just want to say thank you for the work.
Yeah, thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, a lot of times people ask me, you're not going to read every single comment. Yeah, I'm going to read every single comment, and they're interesting. So I appreciate that you did so too. And I encourage everyone else to. It's really interesting to hear what people have to say.
If you could just bring up the slide on the capital improvement plan, this is something that stuck out for me going through it.
There we go.
In the grand scheme of everything the city has going on, and in the grand scheme of the really immense amount of park assets we have, this wasn't really that concerning, which is a testament, I think, to your council and councils past who have really prioritized incrementally, putting money away annually into fixing a playground set here or there, and making sure that kind of the oldest is rotated out first. We have a pretty good rotation here with our DPW crew and our parks crew. So I'm okay with that. That was one thing that stuck out to me that I think that's manageable. We can manageably plan around some of those expenses going forward. So even in this time frame.
Yeah, and that was why we definitely made sure to get kind of DPW's stamp of approval too, since they're the ones that would be, boots on the ground as far as improvements go here.
No, go ahead, Chris. Incredibly well done. I get around in the parks quite a bit. Each park offers something a little bit different. It's nice to see the variety of things in the future parks. Proposed cricket field, proposed beer gardens. They're all just slightly different. And I think that's there's a wide variety. Excited to see it, and along with dog park. Can be a different park, preserving nature at the same time. So I think we have some opportunities with some of the land we're acquiring. And it's really interesting that people have filled out the reports, who visited what parks. Some of it was very obvious, our major parks and Parks and Town Square as well, and Emerald Preserve. is used greatly.
Yeah.
But some of the neighborhood parks rank, they did. And again, I like to see the variety of the new playground equipment going in. The playground equipments are different today. We regularly will go into Franklin as well. They have a premier park, I think. Wonderful to see, something similar or amenities like that. City of Oak Creek. Well done, Christy.
Yes, but I just wanted to add that I wanted to give a shout out to Nick and Todd. They were the main point persons for this project, and they worked very closely with Morgan. And Morgan did a substantial amount of work on this, and we're very pleased with the product. And thank MSA for all their hard work. And again, shout out to Nick and Todd because they were the main staff who worked on this project.
Yeah. And they were great to work with.
Any other questions? Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We need to consider the resolution approving it, though. So, anybody want to make that motion?
I'll move to approve resolution 12660-031726, approving the City of Oak Creek Park and Open Space Plan 2026 through 2031.
Seconds.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
And we'll get into the engineering portion of our agenda. Item 19 is consideration of a resolution accepting the enumerated grant funding of $2.2 million for the lakefront bluff.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator, City Engineer. Before you is that resolution. I'm accepting the enumerated grant funding. This was funding that was secured by Jesse Rodriguez, a representative of the state. She requested this through DNR funding enumerated. This is to help with the management and the stabilization of our bluff, the remaining portions in front of the old High Night and Beezer properties. The approximate cost for the construction right now is sitting around $5.5 million. So this is a great endorsement of funds from our state and through the DNR. This is just a formality. The money is there. This is nothing more than doing an application to basically go through the process so we can gain that money for our construction. We are currently under work to get our contract with our designers and looking forward to construction starting towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. I'd be happy to answer any questions in regards to this funding.
I don't have a question, but Mayor Dan, I'd like to thank you on this as well, because I know you made a couple of calls to make sure that the specific Oak Creek was designated for this. So I just want to be sure that everybody understands we had a big
Team effort, and all the dollars help. Trying to redo that bluff district. Happen part. Excellent. We can then motion on 19.
Marshall moves to adopt resolution number 12661-031726, adopting the enumerated grant funding of $2.2 million for the Lakefront Bluff Stabilization Project.
Seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
And item 20 is consideration of a resolution granting We Energy's 10-foot wide permanent gas distribution easement at 315 East Groveland Avenue and 8520 South Knights Place. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution to grant We Energies the 10-foot wide easement along our portion and lands Miller Pond near the high school. The gas easement actually facilitates the natatorium build-out necessity, but not unusual for us to be granting these easements to We Energies and their utilities. Not much to say other than this is pretty normal for us and normal business. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Public infrastructure. Okay. Seeing no discussion, motion.
Bill move to approve resolution 12662-031726, granting a We Energies 10-foot wide permanent gas distribution easement at 315 East Groveland Avenue and 8520 South Knights Place.
Lorick seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
And item 21 is consideration of a resolution approving a stormwater management practices agreement with Wisconsin Electric Power Company for their combustion turbine project located at 10770 South Chicago Road. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution for that stormwater maintenance agreement. This is for, as everyone's well aware, We Energies improvements to their plant. And as they move through their process, the inclusion and increase in impervious, this is just a step that we go through on most development. They are no different than anybody else, but this is our standard maintenance agreements that we have for our stormwater maintenance.
Questions, comments? Make one comment. I have been down on site. It is an impressive site going on, very well managed. And if you see the stormwater management, they call it a pond. It borders on a small lake. Takes care of a lot of water down there. So thank you for doing that. No further comments or questions?
Marshall move to adopt resolution number 12663-031726, approving a stormwater management practices agreement with Wisconsin Electric Power Company for the combustion turbines project located at 10770 South Chicago Road.
Guzekowski, second.
Have a second. Roll call.
Alderwoman Hess.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Item 22 is the License Committee, which I'd usually turn over to Alderman Ritz, but in his presence, I will turn it over to President Gale.
Thank you, Mayor. I trust you all have had to take a chance to take a look at the council report, various license applications listed there. Any comments, feedback, changes, notations? Otherwise, then I'll move to approve the various license requests as listed on the March 17th, 2026 License Committee report.
Marshall second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess.
Aye.
And item 23 is our vendor summary report for March 11th, 2026, in the amount of $794,057.19. You do have the report. Anything you'd wish to discuss, please take the floor. No questions or discussion? Motion?
Marshall move to approve the March 11th, 2026 vendor summary report in the amount of $794,057.19.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Hess.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
And before I go on to 24, I just want to take a moment of privilege here. I want to invite Kelly up. The City of Oak Creek was given a small award today concerning one of our events. If you would just explain that, Kelly, appreciate it.
Yes, so Kelly Schaff, Marketing and Communications Manager for the City of Oak Creek, and we received a certificate. We were nominated for a Wisconsin Governor's Tourism Award for the category of arts, culture, and heritage, and this is for the cafe event that we do, and so we got this certificate. Governor Evers was there today handing them out, and so we were able to accept this, and I just found out we did not win. We were up against 20 other groups within the state that do various events, but still a real honor to be nominated and to get this recognition from the governors, proving that we're doing great things here in Oak Creek, especially with cafe. And if you haven't been, I'd recommend everyone go because it's a really remarkable event in the square and really shows the diversity and culture that's here in the City of Oak Creek.
Well done and congratulate your staff. be one of 20 recognized. Saying something, doing some.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And kudos to you, Mayor, for getting it rolling, for sure.
Well, yeah, but somebody had to grow it. That was
And this year is going to be even better.
okay. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Kelly. Item 24 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to discuss the following. Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, to review and evaluate the job performance and salary of the city administrator. B, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to deliberate and consider proposed terms relating to potential commercial and residential development for market competition and bargaining reasons and the investing of public funds, including the terms and provisions of potential development agreement that includes the property consisting of approximately 115 acres north of West Drexel Avenue, east of South 27th Street. President Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to convene in a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, to review and evaluate job performance and salary of the city administrator. B, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to deliberate and consider proposed terms relating to potential commercial and residential development for market competition and bargaining reasons and the investing of public funds, including the terms and provisions of a potential development agreement that includes the property consisting of approximately 115 acres north of West Drexel Avenue and east of South 27th Street.
Guzekowski goes second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
We will now convene into closed session, and we will return at its conclusion. Thank you. Sorry about. We will now consider a motion to reconvene into open session.
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to reconvene in the open session.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 26 is to take a motion to take action if required. President Gale.
Thank you, Mayor. On item A, Gail will move to approve the amendment to the City of Oak Creek City Administrator Employment Agreement.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Haas. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Okay, and before we adjourn, I just want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. And if you are going out, or you are out, be responsible and be respectful, and arrive to your destination safely. With that, motion for adjournment.
Marshall, move to adjourn.
A second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorick.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, go Bucky.